Surviving Reality contains explicit content full of snark and sarcasm that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Reality.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and this is Welcome to Plathville, Season 7, Episode 10, The Incident. The episode we've all been waiting for. We are finally going to find out all the details that went down in regard to the fight that Micah and Isaac had.
The incident. There's a couple of incidents in this episode for me, I suppose. The big one being the punch heard around the world.
I am so relieved that we finally got to hear this story from someone other than Veronica, because most of the information that's been floating around the internet has come from her about how the fight started, how she discovered it, everything that happened afterwards. And I think we're learning that Veronica, her side of the story, maybe not so trustworthy, to say the least.
Huge disclaimer right out the gate. We are not Veronica apologists necessarily.
Yeah, I think that's come across a little wrong.
The difference being, if you hear us criticizing the Plaths, we're not siding with Veronica in that sense. We're calling the Plaths out on their shit. We're calling everybody out on everybody's shit. So I think that's the distinction to make here, because there are a lot of things that Veronica did in this episode I was not a fan of, clearly. And then also, the Plaths did a lot of really gross and horrible manipulative things to her as well as part of that.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of hate Veronica just because she's making the Plaths look normal. Or she's making them look better than they deserve to look coming off of an incident like this.
She's validating their
version of reality.
Version of it, yes. And so that's only playing into, it's emboldening them where this is working.
Yeah, and it makes it look like Olivia's story of what happened to her is discredited, which I don't like either, because this is a completely different person experiencing a completely different set of circumstances. And I do feel like she's co-opted Olivia's story in some ways and used it where she felt it bolstered her version of events. And we kind of see that play out in the, I don't even want to call it, wasn't an intervention, because that's what they had with Zach. It was an ambush, a confrontation.
It was an actual bait and switch of a conversation that took place too. Yeah. Because there are several people who are like, Veronica thinks she's coming here to talk about the incident of what happened, but that's not really what we're here to do. We're here to confront and bash and berate her.
Yeah, they were very proud of that, the fact that they pulled this off. Well, but we're still at the wedding. So that's where we pick up at with this episode.
Yes.
So we've had the ceremony last week, and now we're moving into the reception. And we get a lot of footage of Veronica and Micah sitting either outside off to the side, like behind a barn drinking a Pepsi, or in the house.
Eating very depressing pizza. Very sad pizza.
Was there not enough food at this wedding?
No, I think there was plenty of food. It was just the food was at the plate and the plate is at the table, and who else is at the table? Yeah, you can't go to that table. Even though E10 was kind of up and about, he wasn't really stationary at the table either. But he did make a grand gesture of taking Veronica's seashell with her name, the nameplate, and throwing that, chucking that into the field like a Claddagh ring.
You see, that's the stuff, though, where I'm annoyed that just because everyone dislikes Veronica, rightfully so, that those little things that the Plaths are doing, I feel like are getting glazed over.
Well, in some ways, it's like the belief, the general consensus is that Veronica deserves it because she's being mean to them. She isn't getting along with them. She's making up these wild accusations about E10's girlfriend.
And so she has
she has what's coming to her, I suppose, or like she's earned this punishment.
The other really weird moment at the beginning of the reception for me was when E10 approached Moriah. I cannot handle watching these men angrily walk around. They're always like stomping around. You can just see that they're filled with rage. They look angry. And he walks over to where Moriah is sitting, which is like 2 people away from Lydia.
It's at the head table.
Yes. And he doesn't whisper.
He didn't whisper.
He pretends that he's whispering. He leans over and he says to her, just so you know, Moriah, you're not rekindling anything with Veronica.
Mariah's brain,
Excuse me?
like, short circuits in that too, because you can see her kind of
Well,
go
it was
to
so
a place.
combative.
Well, she dissociates immediately. So it's just, she disconnects, and then it's just her kind of wondering, like, what did he just say? So she's sort of piecing it together, because now she's feeling bad about, she felt compelled to go talk to Veronica when Veronica was off feeding the horses or hanging out with the cows or whatever she was doing in the pastures on the Plath farm.
Right. She felt like she had a responsibility to go make things right with her. Like, whatever her motive was in that, she was the one that approached Veronica. But when Ethan comes up and talks to Moriah, he makes it sound like what happened was Veronica approached her trying to make allies.
Recruit her to her cause here.
Which was not at all how that went down.
No. And then, yeah, the other interesting bit here is where it's just, Moriah just then goes, okay, like, oh, that's one other thing I don't have to think about now, because I'm real bad at this human interaction thing. So if you could just tell me who I should and shouldn't interact with, then that's nice in my delicate state.
Yeah. And afterwards, when she's reflecting on it on the couch in her interview, she frames it as it was this genuine nice thing that Ethan did to come over and give her some advice.
That wasn't advice. That was a command.
Yeah, that was an order.
Yeah.
That wasn't said like, hey, I just think that you should be cautious with Veronica, just so you know. You haven't been around lately, but she's saying a lot of things about all of us behind our backs.
Because I don't know if you know this, Moriah, you're a adult and you can make your own decisions about who you interact with. No. It's your loyalty is being tested right now because Veronica's trying to be friends with you again to her benefit. So you better not buy in on any of that bull crap.
It just shows that they truly believe there's a conspiracy going on and that everyone is against them or Veronica is against them. Although you can say it's everyone because it's always going to be another person who comes into the family that they're going to point the finger at.
Ooh, I got a lot of thoughts on that later.
So then we go to speeches. I thought that Amber gave a very nice speech about Lydia, where she talked about Lydia's middle name being Joy and how she's like really brought that to their family and to the world and everyone that she interacts with. And I just thought it was very nice coming from a Plath because they seem to really struggle with saying complimentary things about one another.
I mean, yeah, it's a struggle, to say the least. Barry did not have trouble coming up with words, but he spoke until the sun went down.
Literally, as the sun is setting, Barry's giving his speech, and everyone is just like, they're holding their glasses up, waiting to finish the toast.
It was sun setting while he started the speech, and then it's nighttime by the time he's done. So
he's quoting full passages from the Bible
multiple times. I think he said, "I'm going to read it again."
Just choose one
they
and read it once.
edited around some of this too, and it's like, oh boy,
no speech from Kim.
No speech from Kim. But I think that lends to our theory that Lydia doesn't really enjoy Kim. She tolerates Kim.
I think that you could see it in the wedding, just that there was pretty much no interaction between her and her mother.
The planning, though, Kim had to implement, she had to
it was too late to hire a wedding planner, and Kim's done this before.
Yeah, so Lydia had to rely on her a little bit, but if she messed that up, I think that would have been enough reason to be like, all right, I think I'm done with you.
Yeah, but that's a good point because now that she's watched the show, she made that post on Instagram where she found out all the things that Kim was saying to the camera, but not to her, about the red flags she saw during the wedding planning process. So it's like the one thing that you trusted your mom with to be part of during your wedding, she then weaponized and used against you and your husband on television.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what's going on.
I don't really feel like we need to talk about the dance or anything really the square dancing.
Was it square dancing?
Look, so not only was there square dancing, there was some type of weird Regency, things that I've definitely seen in my historical fiction shows that that I love.
Right.
That there was a lot of that. And I think maybe there's a pipeline that they're missing for history nerds into this version of evangelical Christianity, fundy Christianity.
I don't think that they're going to dig on that too much.
Why? You don't think that they could, no, too educated, right?
This is history, but it's The world is older than 6,000 years old type history.
You could easily trick some history girlies into showing up at a dance event where you're going to have some type of like a regency dance.
You're trying to help fundamentalists trap people?
No.
That's what it sounded like. So you got to be careful how you're framing this.
No, maybe it's good for these parties to interact because maybe they'll be able to pull some people out of it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I regret everything.
That's very
that I've
hopeful. Very hopeful thinking.
Let's go ahead to the Model A send-off.
Oh, boy.
So Ethan has to get the car out again. Why is he dusting it off? Is it it's dirty since the last time that they...
I think that's just
maybe it's the speed at which he drove into the ceremony that he kicked up a lot of dirt and mud.
Yeah, he was turfing the place. And so, yeah, there's a lot of yard remnants that are on there. Plus, I think that's just something that he's seen in old-timey films where they take a rag and just kind of like spin it, like swat at stuff and just like pop, 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 pop down the hood and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
I think you got it. You nailed it.
The finishing touch there. It's a flourish, but like in a very heterosexual way. Obviously.
Did you notice he changed back into his uniform?
He did. Yeah. As soon as he was able to. He was like...
The sun went down. He was like, I'm not wearing this suit anymore.
No, I'm all done with that. I did like the light bar that he had to install as the because there's no headlights on this thing.
That's what that was?
That was a light bar. Yeah.
That's why they needed all that glue.
I guess.
They glued that thing up there.
It's in there solid.
I still don't understand the comment that he made about how as they were driving away from the reception, because I guess he drove the car and then Lydia and Zach were in the back.
Right.
That he heard their teeth chattering the whole way.
So were they cold or were they kissing and they were clunking their teeth together? Was that the implication?
Okay, that's not where my head went.
No? What did you think that the
I
teeth
thought
noise?
He meant that they were like nervous because they're going to go back and they're going to fuck.
Oh, like they were jonesing?
Like either they're jonesing or they're nervous about it.
See,
either he needs to stop making comments about Lydia and Zach having sex.
Yeah.
Because we even saw in the preview for the next episode, he makes a gross comment to Zach about filling the croissants with cream.
Didn't like that.
No.
Did
Zach understand it? Because he said, yes, sir, and kind of laughed. But
I don't know.
I
don't want to know. I don't think I need to know. But this is a general rule, too, of Ethan breaks like the cardinal rule of driving a newlywed couple. If they're in the back seat, you do not turn your head around to see what's going on in the back seat. You might hear some things. Keep your eyes on the road, sir. You're driving.
Well, so this is the thing. He didn't want to watch the first kiss, but he does want to have a bedding ceremony. So see, now the history girlies are with me again. The Plaths are just going to stand around the bed until the deed is done for the first time.
Now I'm worried that prima nocta might come into play here too. That's what I'm getting concerned about, is the obsession here.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, on to hillbilly activities. That's the next thing that we got on the schedule.
That was, yeah.
Now that the bride and the groom have departed.
That's an unspoken hillbilly activity that was not mentioned directly. And then now we have, they didn't really verbalize exactly what hillbilly activities meant in this episode either. Veronica told us online, told Reddit.
Well, not us directly. We don't want you to think we talked.
No. But like, so the hillbilly activities, it was drinking and shooting guns. I think that was pretty much the majority of it.
I'm still convinced there's more than just drinking happening.
Yeah, some white powders involved.
Oh, speaking of drinking, Kim walked up to Lydia and Zach, right? Is that who it was? That she asked if they wanted to spike their drinks?
Right. She was offering to refill their glasses, and then she jokingly asked them if they would like it spiked, which it was a dry wedding, so...
It wasn't a joke. She was going to take the flask out. I'm telling you, it is strapped to the inside of her thigh.
Yeah, that is the move.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to strap. It just kind of sticks there now.
The friction holds it up?
It's like the sweat from the inner thigh holding it in place.
That's also why Ethan's holding that rag.
And the tequila's a little sticky.
He's been wiping the flask off all day.
Is it tequila? That's what we're going with? Probably.
I think Mama Plath's a rum gal.
Or whiskey.
No, I don't think she's into whiskey.
If she's doing rum, she's doing like clear rum, not spiced rum.
Some Malibu?
Like Bacardi, yeah.
Hey, can't knock it. The hillbilly activities result in a hospital stay.
Sock you straight in the face.
Yeah, I'm devastated that they showed us the picture of his nose before the surgeon stitched that up. Now, I don't know if they're going to show that on TV. That was in the screener that we have. I guess they can because it'll be 10 o'clock that they show this on TV. So ooh.
It was bad.
I didn't need to see that. I understood enough from the stitches that it looked like it was pretty bad beforehand.
And when Micah's saying, I've never seen so much blood before, where it's like, there was a lot going on in there in that moment.
So the story is that Veronica went back to her hotel room because she didn't want to hang out with any of them any longer than she already had to just being at the wedding. And she texted Micah asking if she should lock the hotel room door when he was coming back. He never got back to her. And then eventually, sometime in the night, she looked to see where he was at, and his location was at a hospital. And so come to find out that there was a fight that happened between him and Isaac, and that he ripped his nose off his face.
It turns out Isaac fights like a chimpanzee, and he goes right for the nose. The nose first.
Right for the center.
The clawing, the scraping that happens. But it didn't sound like there was fisticuffs involved, though. Isaac admitted to throwing an elbow, which that's how you knock somebody out.
I've never been engaged in a fight like that. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying. So
was he fighting dirty?
I mean, it depends on what you consider dirty fighting. I mean, he kept it above the belt, but there's UFC has rules about throwing elbows.
Oh, well, that puts it into perspective.
Yeah. So it's a violent sport, if you want to call it a sport, that has more rules around it for that specific stuff, especially if somebody's on the ground too, because it sounded like they were wrestling on the ground. So depending on what the situation was, if Isaac was on top of Micah and then elbowed him in the face, then you're smushing a head between an elbow and the ground, and that's not good. Real bad.
Well, later Veronica basically says you're lucky that that's as bad as it was, because you could kill somebody if you hit them in the temple.
It could have killed you, yeah.
Which I know is probably going to get criticized by people just because it was well, why'd you have to go to the worst case scenario? That's how I was raised. That's my internal monologue from my parents, was anytime my sister and I would fight with each other that, you could accidentally really hurt someone. You could kill somebody on accident.
It is extreme.
So that runs through my head.
Okay, yeah. But I mean, it is extreme. It's not necessarily where you would need to go. I would say in this circumstance,
well, that's why I have anxiety.
Well, yeah, but in this circumstance where it's does Isaac fully understand the seriousness here? Because then as Veronica goes to the farm then, and she's kind of trying to check up on Micah.
They lure her to the farm.
They lure her to the farm, though, because there's promises of a conversation so that Micah and Isaac can hash out what took place last night. So Veronica's okay, yeah, that sounds good. I'm on board with that.
Yeah, she thinks that the Plaths are in the wrong and that is what they're about to talk about. So she is all for joining a conversation where their bad behavior is going to be addressed.
So when she shows up, though, Kim's just standing outside the farm house and guiding Veronica in. It's just, everybody's just kind of looming around, lurking around.
Felt a little performative.
Everybody was asleep, is what Kim is letting Veronica know. So Veronica's going in to check on Micah.
I wonder if Kim went outside to meet her because she wanted to suss out what Veronica's attitude was going to be and whether or not it was a good idea to have her come in the house. Because the tensions are still high. It's very hostile when she gets inside.
Yeah, but the way that she was describing it was, it's like the eye of a hurricane. There was a lot of stuff that already happened with a physical altercation where Micah ended up in the hospital last night. Now it's not actively turmoil at this exact moment, but it feels like there's tension in the air and something else is coming.
The energy is building.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's because they all know that they have got her coming here today so that they can confront her. I am telling you, I am convinced that the Plaths got together while Micah was in the hospital and said, we have to have this conversation. And I think that they were planning to confront Veronica whether or not this happened. that they knew this would be like a great finale to their season, because I fully believe that Kim Plath thinks that she's a producer. And you can't convince me that that's not the case, because they already planned a weird intervention with Lydia. So,
but they didn't film that one. But that was the dry run. That was the dress rehearsal for confronting Veronica.
They were always going to film this.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's the plan. And like, we just have to make sure that we get all of those frustrations and everything, because we didn't want to, we looked kind of bad if we were confronting Zach about being gay, even though he tells us repeatedly that he's not gay and he is marrying Lydia. So like, they didn't really have a leg to stand on, so to speak.
I just think it's damage control, because everything leading up to Lydia's wedding looks so bad for them.
So now what they're going to do, the goal here is that they might have talked with Micah too, where like, he sounds like he's kind of done with Veronica. The way that he's interacting with her, he's not talking to her.
No, she's walking right past her.
Yeah, she keeps checking on him. She's trying to talk to him about plastic surgeons that they can look into, because we're going to have to reconstruct your nose now. Like, there's a whole botched situation that's going on. So like, we're going to need to fix this. And he's not saying anything. He's just walking out of rooms when she's talking to him. He's just meandering around the house. Then he's off murmuring with E10. Veronica comes over. E10 walks away. Then Micah walks away. So it's just like weird, off-putting tension building.
I bet you she was confused because she thought that Micah was going to be mad at Isaac.
Right.
And instead she's walking in and it's very clear that Micah is being standoffish with her.
So like, I don't know if the family knew at the time that Micah's pretty much done with Veronica, and that's why they're going to push for this conversation to happen as well, because it's sounding like that.
The fight occurred because he was kind of taking up for Veronica, where he was saying, you're not going to say stuff about my girlfriend to Isaac, coming off of Isaac saying stuff about Veronica because of what she said about Kaylynn and Teegan. So it was very like the two of them trying to stand up for their woman, which is also really gross to me that resorted to violence.
Well, that's weird. Yeah, like that, it would go that route. Like that's where we ended up, was that you're going to punch your brother over something that his girlfriend said about your girlfriend. That seems like a weird place for that to go.
Well, they're ignoring the fact that they have all of this built up anger still coming out of the Lydia situation, that Lydia didn't listen to them and married Zach, that they think Zach's gay. I do believe that a lot of that E10 eventually says, oh, I let go of that when Lydia married him yesterday. It certainly didn't seem like that. It didn't seem like you were very engaged in celebrating their marriage together, or that you were happy for them. It felt like you were just a captive being held there to be part of this because you're her brother. That stuff doesn't just go away in a minute. To me, that's more like magical thinking on their part, because they're not taught how to manage their own emotions and work through things.
Okay, yeah, because like, let's get into the conversation, because everybody sits down in the living room. And by everybody, I mean E10, Teegan, Micah, Veronica, Kaylynn, Isaac, and Mama Plath rounds out the group of 7 here.
I was mad at myself because at first I felt like Mama Plath was doing a good job trying to be the mediator.
No, I knew that this was not going to go this way, because Kim's trying to lay out ground rules of how this conversation is going to go. It's going to be respectful, and we're not going to raise our voices and yell, and we're going to talk about it like adults.
See, those rules weren't for her children. They were for Veronica.
I think that's the catch-all here too. And how can we talk as adults? Why are you involved in this as much? Because Kim's here for her pound of flesh, because she's heard that Veronica said some shit about her, and so she wants to be a part of this conversation so she can get everything out there about how she feels about Veronica.
Okay, I thought that was so weird that as the conversation progresses, she brings up, well, I've heard you said things about me too, Veronica. Why don't you tell me all the things that you've said about me?
And Veronica's like, you're going to have to be more specific than that.
Which time?
Because I've said a lot of things about you. So what specific things that you had in mind have you heard?
It's just weird to me that a woman who's in her 50s is concerned about what a 25-year-old's walking around saying about her.
Like that you're not my friend anymore. My son's girlfriend is not my friend anymore. Okay? Like,
I just think, why do you have to pile on and add your stuff to it when it's already clear that there's enough going on here with the kids having issues with each other and the significant others disliking each other, that I don't think that your shit as a grown adult who's been on this earth for 30 years longer than everybody else who's sitting here, I don't think that you need to be involved.
well, especially when you have your own motive and agenda for being part of this conversation too, where you are just going to berate her as well for the things that she said about you. So that's a whole thing. I didn't like where the conversation even started with that too, because Isaac kicked off the conversation and he started with an apology to Micah. And then Ethan immediately absolves Isaac of all wrongdoing because I think we can clearly see that you feel bad about it. There is an actual apology here, and that's not what the real problem is anyway. So there's no need in looking into this any further because that's already been squashed. You guys sorted it out, and we're done with that. We're moving on to the real problem in the room, which is you, Veronica.
Okay, this is where Veronica then loses me for the rest of the episode, because instead of being honest about why she's been doing the things she's been doing, which I still don't think makes them okay, but I think it would at least be a little bit more respectable if you would come out and say, hey, yeah, I've been making things up about you guys because I felt like you made things up about me.
She needed to own up to it. So that's Veronica's biggest flaw in this entire conversation. She's still doubling down on lies that she's perpetuating, rumors that she's spreading, while accusing everyone else of spreading rumors, being nice. Like everything that Micah listed out that she's being a hypocrite about is 100% accurate. And that's what's frustrating. You're giving them ammo to use this against you in this conversation where it places all of the blame squarely on your shoulders, Veronica, where this is wrongdoing on your part, and you're not willing to see that.
I was really surprised that Isaac did agree, although he did not agree in the room at the time. He agreed on camera afterwards with production that Veronica did not have control of these men's arms. She did not make them hit each other.
Because for Ethan to go that route of saying the only reason why Isaac and Micah were fighting was because of you, Veronica, that is a stretch.
Because of you, Veronica.
Because of what you have done.
I'm going to need him to stop pointing his finger and shouting.
Yeah, raising your voice in that way.
Let me tell you, they need somebody who's actually able to come in here and have a real conversation with them, because I would have looked him straight in the eye and said, if you talk to me like that again, you're going to be going to the hospital next.
Well, that constitutes a threat. And then you'd have to be, well, I'm just saying.
Take me off set.
Yeah,
I don't want to be here anymore. I want to be part of this
I
conversation.
think that's the right answer. But like, it's a stretch and a half to say you're the reason why they fought. No. We have two boys who are incapable of navigating their big emotions on their sister's wedding day.
Okay.
I think that's the problem.
Ding, ding, ding. That's what needs to be addressed, because Kim and Barry's lack of parenting and the fact that they've not taught their kids how to handle their emotions is why we're in the situation that we're in today.
See, and Veronica, that's the other thing I'm upset about. Why didn't you throw that back on Kim? Hey, it sounds like they had some struggles navigating how to process their emotions yesterday. Perhaps you could give us a crash course on something that you taught them on how to deal with their emotions in this way. No, you're seeing it.
She taught them to drink when they're having big emotions.
To drink, and then also find a scapegoat. Blame somebody. So they're living it. You're seeing
the recipe.
It. This is happening. This is what it is. This is how they fix the emotions that they have. They place them elsewhere. So Veronica was spot on with that, with the deflection. I think she was missing the point too of like, does she realize that she is the scapegoat now? Because guess what happens? We kind of saw it with Olivia a little bit. That was like the sneak peek preview was like, they know that you're 1 foot out the door, too, that this isn't going to work out, that Micah is now fully committed to the family, and that he's kind of pushing away from Veronica. So what else is going to happen now is it's going to be a pile-on. Before you are ejected from the family system, we have to tag everything else. You become the trash can that everybody else dumps all of their problems into, because you're going to be gone anyway. So once you're gone, all of our problems are solved.
That's how they create a clean slate with each other.
That's it. This is the reset that happens. They go through this cycle where it's all these different little fights that build up. They pin it onto one person who leaves the family, and then everybody feels better. What a miracle. We're back to reset.
Which I still don't blame them, though, for wanting to get rid of Veronica.
I don't blame them for that. But like the piling
it's just,
on.
This is a pattern.
Yes. Yeah, this is a pattern. And then the piling on is the part that's very concerning to me, because that's where it's every single fight. Because we kind of saw that with Olivia, where it was like, remember when Moriah and E10 weren't getting along? They were having fights. They weren't able to square things out. They weren't talking. She had blocked him. As soon as E10's not with Olivia anymore, it's, oh, sorry, I was behaving that way. Olivia made me do this. Mm-hmm. The devil made me do it.
They use other people as excuses for their behavior.
That becomes the out, where then you don't have to be responsible for any of your actions. It was brainwashing in response to that, because this horrible person was in our lives.
Let's talk about the OF rumors, because that's, I think, the thing that makes Veronica look the worst in this conversation.
This is a big misplay.
Because, I mean, they open it with that. Is, you're saying that Teegan has an OF. Where is it? Because we want to see evidence of it, because you will not stop saying that it's real and that it exists. We've never seen it. Where is it? And she doubles down and says, it exists. I've seen it. I would show it to you, but I don't have my phone on me. As she clutches her phone closer to her body inside of her jacket.
I think the biggest mistake was saying that she didn't have her phone, but then she was so quick to pull her phone out to then disprove something that Kaylynn was saying about how she had to do math homework or
this
something.
This whole story got lost. I think what happened was she was trying to say they didn't want to spend time with her, or that Kaylynn was going to be leaving too.
Or like that she had left
the reception.
Either the reception or the rehearsal, something. She had left to do homework, completed the homework, and then came back. So Veronica only saw her later, where it was like, oh, I thought she had math homework to do. That was why she couldn't do this thing.
That was because she said that she called Kaylynn a liar.
Yes.
That she didn't call her a slut, because it was a case of mistaken identity. She meant to call Teegan a slut.
Right. I mean, and that's kind of a broad loophole sort of out for that.
Like, no, I technically called you a liar
I called you a liar because I meant to call Teegan a slut. That was an accident that I called you a slut if I did. The problem that I'm having, though, is that a lot of this stuff that's circulating around, Veronica's not circulating it. Micah is circulating it.
Okay, but I feel like that is splitting hairs a little bit.
I'm just saying, like, that doesn't give her a pass.
They're saying she spread a rumor, but really she said something to her partner when the cameras weren't rolling, right? And then he immediately called E10 up and told him about this.
That's the distinction of like...
So you don't want to take responsibility for your actions, which is that, Micah, you're kind of a gossip.
I'm not giving Veronica a pass for the things that she said.
No, but I don't like that Micah is so quick to turn around and tell other people things that are being said.
And
by
I think
his
it's
partner.
because he knows if word gets out that Veronica has been saying these things, or if she is saying these things on camera in her own ISO interviews or something, and then it comes out on the show and he didn't give anybody a heads up, then he's really going to catch some flack for that.
Yep, I think that that's what it is. I don't think it's that he's just so close to them that he feels the need to go tell them everything. I don't think their relationships are really like that. I think it is about protecting themselves from what's on camera.
But it's like a family loyalty thing, too.
Yeah.
He feels obligated to tell everyone when something comes up. But that's not good if you're going through this, if you know that your partner's frustrated and upset with your family, to then go immediately and tell your family all of these things that your partner is saying out of frustration too, while you're working through this stuff. That's not fair to do that either, I don't think.
I think another part of it is a lack of experience in relationships because of the fact that they didn't. A lot of people go through this when you're a teenager, and you learn the lesson that when you're in a moment where you're not getting along with the person that you're with, you go tell your friends or your family about the things that they did or said, that then those things change people's opinions about them permanently, even if you then forgive them for whatever happened.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And they haven't done that because they were restricted from having relationships, any type of relationships, with anyone outside of their family circle.
So it's tough. I mean, I get it. It's tough to navigate, especially when you don't have the experience doing that. But like, that also doesn't give him a pass. Doesn't give him a pass, and it doesn't give Veronica a pass, in my opinion.
It did then become a storyline because of the fact that Ethan got upset. There was the fact, I guess it's really that Veronica wouldn't let the story die, right? Because beyond him bringing it up to Ethan.
And nobody's letting anything go here at this point, too. It's like everybody's upset. So then it just spirals from there.
It turns out that all of this started from Veronica seeing a clickbait article about Teegan.
Well, because they call her out, because when she whips out her phone to try and disprove Kaylynn, then Teegan's like, you have your phone on you, so why don't you do we have to circle back on the OF stuff now, because you were lying about not having your phone, because you're a liar.
So then show me the evidence you claim you have.
But then she's saying, oh, I guess we'll have to, whip something up here real quick. And she's like trying to hand her phone to Teegan to look for stuff. And they're like, no, you said you have evidence. Present the evidence. So that's another confusing point too. I don't know what Veronica was trying to accomplish in this, of trying to have them show her.
She wasn't prepared for this confrontation.
She wasn't ready.
She didn't think about anything. And that's part of the approach, right? Was for her to be under the impression that they were coming to talk about the actual physical fight that occurred. So she didn't have time to think about anything in advance because she is lying. So she hasn't had time to figure out how she's going to spin this a different way when they're all asking her questions.
Oh, you have to have those at the ready. If you're lying about something as extensively as Veronica is lying about, you got to have it ready to go.
Also, why not just say, yeah, I saw an article that said it.
I saw an article. Yeah. Like, and
so I brought it up.
The validity of the article, she's still claiming that she saw an OF page that looked strikingly similar to Teegan, but let's just say Teegan kind of has that build. She has that look. She has
a little bit of an OF look.
You know,
you can't tell from the way she's showing herself on camera or not showing herself on camera. She, if you go to her Instagram, a different girlie's on that page from the one that we're seeing on this show.
Oh. So maybe that's the joke, is that it's like,
she should have said she had your lashes. That's how I know.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty damning.
Triangle. Is that a lash strip, or is that just that she's clumping her lashes together with her mascara?
Clumping. She's got a heavy hand on the mascara, much like the Kimmy Plath version as well. She really coats it on there too.
And on her teeth. There was a lot of lipstick on Kim's teeth this
on
episode.
The teeth. Yes. Very evident. It's hard to be throwing barbs and jabs at other people when you've got lipstick on your teeth. We gotta double
that's
check.
how you knock people off their shit, though. Those are the things that Veronica should be mentioning.
Yeah. Well, that was
you gotta shake them a little bit. I know it was in her ISO interview.
After, but yeah.
I mean, production is not on your side if they let you continually do these interviews with lipstick on your teeth. They've done it to her and they've done it to Moriah.
There has to be, well, yeah. And like, there has to be a breaking point though, where it's like, how many times are you going to be like, hey, you got a little something right there? You know,
they just got tired of it.
At a certain point, it's just like,
just hand someone a mirror.
Yeah.
And then if they choose
you're good,
not to fix whatever's going on, then that's their responsibility.
If you're good, I'm good.
Exactly. You can't blame the housewives for having to have a glam squad when you see how other people are being done wrong in these ISO interviews.
Can't be trusted. Yeah.
Another problem I have is that Veronica thinks it's okay to call Teegan a slut. She straight up just says that to Kim. Yeah, I think that's okay.
On what basis, though? Like, I need Veronica to show her work. on this one because she's saying that like, oh, we didn't know that Teegan had a kid. Okay, so are you calling her a slut because she had a kid prior to dating Ethan?
No, I don't even think her story about how Teegan supposedly didn't tell them she had a kid was true. I think Teegan didn't tell her that she had a kid. And it's like, of course, no shit, because you guys haven't had an actual real conversation where you tried to get to know each other.
I wouldn't tell Veronica personal information either.
No, I did think that Teegan had a point with that.
Yeah, I would keep her at a distance for sure.
But I don't think it's that she came in and misled the family or just left out that she had a kid. I think that's another thing that Veronica is taking and kind of spinning a bit.
It's a spin because then she's associating it back to Moriah dated a guy who didn't tell us he had a kid. He lied about stuff too. So then it's like all of that trauma that gets tied into this too.
Well, I mean, that's a good line to go with. Why don't you then bring it back to, oh yeah, remember how everyone said I was a liar? If you had come into this conversation with honesty and you hadn't done all of these other things, you could have redirected back to that, which was your original problem with them. But instead, you have made yourself into the villain of this story, and now you are having to have everybody bring up all the things that you've done.
At some point in this conversation, too, Amber walks in, sits down, and just grabs her popcorn and enjoys the show. Pretty much from that point on. She's messy.
Remember when she said, I don't want you to talk to me about my family. I don't want to be involved.
She's quiet, but she's listening.
Yeah.
She's listening to everything. And then the real MVP moment was when Moriah popped her head around the corner, heard the tone in the room of what was going on at the conversation at that point, and just it turned around and left.
Irish goodbye
immediately. Just, yes, trust your instincts on this one. Do not get involved. Leave. Vacate the premises immediately. Run, girl, run.
She did a good job of avoiding the drama this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she got the hell out of Dodge, and she was just, I'm sure, relieved for the rest of the day.
Well, yeah, the way that she got barked at by Ethan yesterday, I wouldn't want to come into this conversation either, because they're going to turn the finger at you about why are you trying to be friends with Veronica again? It's like, I didn't do anything of the sort.
I don't have that much of a problem with Veronica anymore where I'm going to pile on. I don't have anything else in my life. There hasn't really been a lot going on. I've just been kind of crying in my room and then moving to Montana.
I'll just go back to that.
Which nobody has asked me about, by the way. I'm doing fine. Thanks.
Yeah, they're really trying to spend every moment that they have with her before she travels back across the country.
Not really. I think we're good. But this is where Kim really gets involved, where then it becomes the personal vendetta of how Veronica is a really bad friend to Kim. So Amber, grab my phone, because Veronica's saying that she didn't ignore my calls or stopped returning my calls. Why does it feel like Kim scrolls through these texts every night and is like marking down the date of all of these times where she reached out to Veronica for emotional support? She was trying to talk to her, and she wouldn't return her calls.
I think that she prepared. She had a note in her phone, and it was like, called Veronica on this date at this time. This is the excuse she gave me for not answering her phone. Never called me back. Like, she has a complete log of all the times that she tried to contact her since September.
This is why Barry is afraid to go toe-to-toe on the child support stuff. She has call logs. She's documenting things.
She's ready for family court.
She's keeping track. Yes, she has been keeping track of all of this information, and she's going to send you a bill at the end of it.
Why does anybody want to pick up the phone and talk to their boyfriend's mom? Frequently. She called her every couple of days just based on the few examples that Kim gave her. And not about anything important, just to shoot the shit.
It sounded like, well, not even things that were important to Kim, apparently. This felt like loyalty tests. That's what this felt like. If Kim calls, you better drop everything and pick up that phone to show that you care about her. Because if you don't, then you're going to pay the price.
I really think that Kim's not having a conversation with Veronica anymore. It's about her and Olivia. Because one of the things that Olivia mentioned towards the end of her time being on the show was how she and Kim had a close relationship at first and how she felt discarded by Kim. And so I think she's trying to dispute that narrative that looks like it's being played out again through what Veronica's saying, Because Veronica said, my issue with you is that you kind of cast me aside.
So it was vaguely similar, familiar sounding, which Kim was like very quick to dispute that because she had been called out on that previously by Olivia. So she has to have documented proof that, no, this is how much I did try to reach out and you ignored me, actually.
This might be the only honest thing that Veronica said through the whole conversation, because I do think that she had a big problem with feeling like Kim moved on from her, because she felt like the whole family did that, where she was the new shiny object that everybody loved at first because they thought she was so much better than Olivia. And now the tables turned because they found two new people, one of which lives in Cairo, so Kim has access to her at all times. And I think that Teegan and Kaylynn especially became the light of Kim's life. And not necessarily that Veronica really loved Kim's friendship, but I think that Veronica has real issues with feeling lesser than other people. And that at that point, it became a competition between her and the other girls. And that is why this turned into a mission on her end to take them down. Maybe that's too deep of a psychological analysis.
No, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That
maybe
tracks.
she's just a two-faced bitch, like Kim said.
Well, maybe Kim's just a snake, like Veronica said. I think all of those things could be true.
She really thought that was the mic drop moment for her, that she had the soundbite of the episode. But Veronica is our soundbite queen of this season.
She had
you can dislike her, but when she looked at the camera and said that Isaac better start collecting a lot of peanuts or whatever it is he does at work.
He needs to go pick some more peanuts or whatever he does at work. that was it for me.
I cackled.
That was it for me this episode. And I mean, she did have a few, because then she was talking about Micah with the Voldemort look. Like, there were some other really good one-liner sound bites in there too. But yeah, I think Kim really thought that she won out with that one. And it was like, no. You don't know what Veronica's been given to us here.
Maybe she needs to audition if there's a Real Housewives of Boca.
Oh, Veronica?
Yeah. Because
I thought
on
you
that
meant
show,
Kim at first, and I was like, no,
not Kim.
No,
it is. Kim's never been a housewife.
No,
it's to your benefit if you can efficiently spread rumors through the group, and if you can come up with one-liners, and if you're nasty. I think that that's something where she would thrive.
Yeah, the mean girl energy.
Yeah,
there, which that's what a lot of people are attributing to her as being the problem. But I think that's kind of a defensive response to being attacked and ganged up on, because this is a 6-on-1 conversation that's happening here. Again, don't agree with a lot of the things that Veronica's saying. Don't agree with the way that she's going about it, where she's lying about things and doubling down on things that aren't true or can't be proven to be true. But that also doesn't mean that it's okay for everyone to pin every single issue that they're having on her solely as her fault.
Well, to me, it was gross because they needed to be there to back up Micah, because I think they truly didn't trust that Micah would be able to have this conversation or end this relationship, because that's where this is going next.
They're not,
week, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, they didn't say that yet. And then we're still cliffhanging for the remainder of this conversation for next week. But it seemed like that's where it was going, where Micah was basically saying, I've tried to fix things. I've tried to repair things, and Veronica doesn't seem interested in that, and I'm kind of giving up, I guess. So it was sounding like he's tapping out here at the end of that.
Well, and there was no place else to go after Olivia's name got brought up, because
everybody's laughing in the room then about, oh, well, your girlfriend is saying she wants to be like Olivia, Micah, so what are you gonna do?
That's kind of the end of it, right? We don't like Olivia. We don't want another Olivia, so we're out.
That was the other weird part too, with Isaac complaining about how Olivia was in the group, destroying the family, tearing the family apart. And then as soon as we got rid of her, then here comes Veronica, just another devilish woman who's here to destroy my family. No, man. Like, again, it's the system, the family system that's in place, is that you have to pin it all on a scapegoat, have your big reset where everybody clears out, clears the air, and then you move forward like nothing's wrong. I'm upset that Veronica didn't point to Teegan, didn't point to Kaylynn and say, just you wait. Wait till it's your turn.
Maybe she will next week.
When I'm gone, it's only a matter of time before it's one of you two.
Well, it was also a big red flag that Isaac was getting so angry. As soon as Olivia's name got brought up and they were having, it out over that, you saw him getting more and more pissed as he was sitting there. And just the fact that they can't control their emotions or separate the past from the present.
Well, it's very real. They're still in it because
they've never gotten beyond those emotions.
Yes. Well, and then same thing too of Veronica reminding Ethan, because Ethan was like, my mom's not a snake. And you're saying these horrible things about her. And Veronica's like, you've said terrible stuff about your mom on camera too.
Actually, something really similar to that.
Yeah.
About her being a manipulative snake.
And then, of course, that was because he was with Olivia, though. So that's his past.
Right.
That's
I was being influenced by my demonic wife.
Totally different. And that's not me. I wasn't the cause of that. That was an Olivia problem, not an Ethan problem.
I hated the whole thing. I hated everybody involved. I hated that even Micah, when he was talking about why they were here, framed this as a conversation where he's here to lay down the law. It was a control your woman or you need to get rid of her.
Yes.
Conversation.
Yeah. Which was gross.
Yeah.
Among other things. And Micah just needs to admit that he's a messy bitch. And he likes going around and telling everybody what everybody else is saying. He's a gossip.
Does he like to do that or is he compelled to do that?
I mean, that's one of the things that he's doing as part of the system. He's keeping everyone informed as to what's going on.
I hope that he reflects on it and realizes that if you're going to have another relationship, you need to closely guard what information you share with your family. Because now it is going to look like, well, if Micah comes to me and says that this is something his girlfriend said, how much else is she saying? Because that's been their past experience with not only Veronica, but also what they thought of Olivia. So this is just, I don't see how this gets resolved in the future because every single one of these people needs to go to individual therapy.
That's not going to happen, though.
No.
There's not enough cars for Ethan to fix up and maintain here, I don't think.
The therapy garage. Maybe that's something that a therapist could start.
Yeah, where you're doing it's like shop class, but with therapy. Where you talk about
have a
your
therapist
feelings. Talk
to you while you lean over into the hood of the car. Under the hood of the car?
Probably under. Yeah, not into it.
Not
unless he has his rag that he's spinning and swatting the top of it like that.
I was to say, unless you're Cody and Robin leaning on the hood of the car.
Oh, that's different.
Next week, they're going to continue talking to each other. I don't know how much more is there to say? You all hate her. She hates you. That's the end of this relationship. I honestly think that this relationship was over at the beginning of the season, but Veronica did have a motive to try to make them all look bad because she was embarrassed.
Now it's a race back to Boca. Who's going to get to the house first to empty it out?
Are they going to show that on TV?
Oh, man, I hope so.
Because that's what she claims happened next.
It basically becomes, it's a mad, 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 mad world, sort of, where, now you're just racing planes, trains, and automobiles, trying to get back to Boca and get your stuff out of the house.
And Olivia returns. We've seen her on FaceTime a few times this season, but she's finally going to be face-to-face with Ethan to talk about the divorce paperwork.
I thought he was going to trip when he was walking over to the table. I thought that was going to happen. I thought he was going to a little stumble, catch himself there.
So we'll see how that goes on the heels of this confrontation with Veronica and the fact that he knows Olivia's been talking to Veronica this season.
I just hope that Olivia is able to remind him, make sure you use a blue or a black crayon to fill out the divorce paperwork. You forgot a whole page. You need to review this and go over this. Stop messing this up.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.